Okay, so this video is going to be really weird. This is going to be a weird video. So today I kind of want to roughly pilot a new video idea to you. A weekly Galactic War update, so to speak, where every tick I come by, take a look at the activity filter and all of the surrounding activity, and try to piece together the various stories and emergent gameplay going on with the Galactic War standings through Powerplay 2.0. And I went through a couple different ideas on how I could make this series, but I think it would be easier and more effective if I just opened the Galmap, looked around, and tried to explain what might be happening, speculating on the Galactic War. I'm not going to be tracing down Powerplay discords and stuff like that, at least at first, because I just want to see how effective the Galmap is at telling the story. So let's just begin. If you like it, let me know, and I might just do more. This is something you can do for yourself as well. If we were to go over here to the activity filter in Powerplay, make sure we have everything selected and then set the minimum activity level. This is a great way to find where pockets of stuff is going on, where conflict is happening. So for example, if we go here on the border between ALD and Aisling Duval, we can see that they are competing on a few levels here. Now, Aisling is mostly focused on expansion right now. It seems like there's something brewing. Probably, again, a fight for Akinar, because let's be real, this right here is the bragging rights. It's literally the system. And there's a little bit of undermining happening here. 7,700's worth is very intentional. There's a respectable effort going on here, but 27,000 moving the other way. And honestly, they might want to focus on this a little more. If this effort goes up significantly, this is not going to happen, and you might drop down back to a fortified state. So honestly, I would stop focusing on this system myself if we were up here at around this level. But I mean, ALD is going to do their own thing. Orisa is actually doing a little bit of expansion. They're going to be taking Runchia? I don't know how to pronounce that, but they're going to be taking this system, and Zemina and Denton aren't really competing, although right up here, Denton is absolutely taking this. Orisa seems to not even be trying to take this. They're right underneath the conflict threshold, but Denton's so ahead on that control score, they're taking it. Orisa and Zemina, close here. Close and Namari could go either way. I guess we'll have to see next week. Nothing interesting really going on here on the Denton front. There is that little pocket of expansion happening there, a little bit of competition, but nothing crazy. Let's go ahead and switch back to the activity filter and see what Denton's focusing on right now. Currently trying to keep Sidha. It looks like that it's barely exploited, so they're definitely focusing on that. They are expanding into Tamar. I'm not seeing much going on the Denton Petraeus side. Oh, this could be Denton. It also could be Aisling, but Denton or somebody, maybe both of them, it looks like Zemina is losing this system because they're not even fighting for it. They're not even trying to take it back. So that's dropping back down to unoccupied. And then next week, we're probably going to see some people expand in. I'm curious actually to see who's going to expand into this. Zemina with a pretty focused effort on moving Lear up in the exploited status. Big undermining happening to Denton here in Coma. Who is this? Let's take a look around. I want to know who's doing this. Couple people. Pretty much all of the imps are up here. Yuri Grom's up here. Oh, that's Felicia Winters. That's not Yuri Grom. Is this Yuri Grom? No. There's probably a mix of people in Coma here doing a bunch of stuff. I'm curious to take a look around. This could be Orisa. There's even Edmund Mahan right here. This would definitely be a bit of a strategic loss for Denton, because this is their only fortified system. If we take a look at that strategic view, we can see what would have a problem here. We have some competition between, oh wow, right up here, ALD and Aisling competing. Edmund and Denton competing. They would lose, as you can see, this like solid line here. They would lose a lot of penalty, I think, to the other team. Felicia, very close in Burgeworth. There's a lot of activity up here from a lot of different people. Felicia here reinforcing this system, moving it up the exploited status. Taking this as a fortified system would be pretty good. This is a stronghold right here. Switch to the strategic view of that for Felicia. Look at this. Pretty good pocket of influence right here. Are they expanding? They are, and they're taking this. And they're also competing on a few fronts here. Mostly focusing on a new com here, though. An undermining happening in Maka here, right next to Coma. I don't know who could be doing this. Let's take a look at the feds, actually, while we're up here. Let's go look up here at Felicia Winters' space and see. They are currently fortifying, I'm not going to pronounce that, Pucho, that's what we're going to say. Yuri Cans is also being fortified. Jerome Archer is punching right into their space. I mean, this is their capital system right here. This is Felicia's capital system right here. And Archer is pushing in, literally just punching right in right there in LFT. And they are going to take it too. Zamina is the only one competing, which is surprising that Felicia Winters doesn't really care about this space. A Zamina stronghold or fortified system right here, currently being undermined, but has a very high strength penalty. God, Edmund has so much like influence all over the place. He's expanding over here. So let's scoot over to Jerome Archer. It's kind of funny how there's just this Zamina and Edmund territory like sandwiched in between these two powers. And Edmund honestly just sprinkled around everywhere. Decent amount of fortification up here in this stronghold. Slowly pushing this fortified to a stronghold. Relatively focused effort, it looks like. A lot of reinforcing. Let me guess, you're expanding? Yep, they're going to go ahead and take Ross here. Edmund with 17 hull control score. They must have just scanned a couple ships by accident. Interestingly, though, we got Lee really close to the home territory here. That's probably why they're strengthening Toulon, because Lee has 2 fortified systems right here. Go ahead and switch to that strategic view. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this is a very powerful pocket of space for them. That strength penalty is high on these systems, moderate on these systems, even though they are quite literally pressed up against Jerome Archer's space. Little bit of competition. Lee is going to be taking this system. Lee's going to be taking 25511. Jerome Archer has the slight lead in LHS 220. Yeah, Lee's just cooking. They got a stronghold right here too. Let me see. Is that in range? That's in range of this pocket of space as well. Yeah, honestly, Lee is doing some big brain stuff right up here, and it smells like a big conflict between Jerome and Lee. Now watch, it's all just like passive and they don't even care about each other. Major undermining happening for Jerome Archer over here. 55K. I'd be willing to bet by the end of this week, this is good. This is unoccupied. This is just clearly right here. This pocket of Lee territory is Lee's territory. I don't think anybody's really taking that. They're expanding out the back here. Little tiny bit of competition here. Not much movement though. Let's take a look down at Lee's space though. See who he might be competing with. I'm going to go ahead and change some of my map options here just so we get a little bit of a cleaner look. So we got a decent amount of reinforcement happening in Ybor here, and they're going to be moving that to stronghold probably within the next couple weeks, I would imagine. Move and exploited up to fortified here in 1279. This pocket of space. Oh my God, hello? They're doing a lot down here, moving this up to a stronghold space. Who's this right here? Pranav Antal. Also doing a massive amount of fortification here. Smells like conflict brewing between the two. Look at this pocket of space. Like 5 or 6 fortifieds and a stronghold. There is absolutely nothing Pranav can do to punch into here. I'd be very impressed to see that. Although they are making moves over here. Little bit of fortification here. That's 600 points, basically by accident. Although 350,000 control points moving towards stronghold here in Concordia. They have a fortified system back here. Little bit of something going on there. Some surprising amount of undermining. Seems like most of the focus in this region is on Concordia. So they must be wanting this to be a stronghold to, I imagine, punch into this space. Although this is very, very strong. And this is just a small little pocket for them. Let's go up here to this little pocket of space too, where they're meeting each other again. This actually is going to, Thene, they might lose. They might just lose Thene. By the time this week's out. That could be anybody though. Might not be Lee doing that because Jerome's sitting right up here with 2 fortified systems. Jerome is going to be taking this system though, and they are putting a lot of effort into Kuyamong. I have no idea. Is there anyone north up here? Mostly just Archer. I kind of want to take a look at Pranav. I want to see what he's up to down here. Obviously, him and Lee are doing a lot of beefing. They're straight up going to lose Hebe here, unfortunately. Also, straight up gonna lose MCC 378 right here. Oh, there's some friction in this system. Take a look at that. That's impressively even. Lee is also fortifying down here. There's a lot of movement going on for Lee. Like they're focusing on the federal front, the Antal front. Like they're doing a lot of work, Lee. They feel like these guys feel very power play like minded. There's just so much. They're pushing up the exploited status of LP as well down here, preventing the undermining of new. I probably should have said that. They're fortifying HIP 6978 here as well. And I'm assuming this is them expanding into Wanji. Although, Shauna here being undermined in a pretty major way. 10,000. So there's a very small group of Lee trying to prevent this, but not enough, which makes sense. I mean, this is pretty deep into Antal's territory, and I'm imagining this is them. Oh my gosh, Lee expanding, and just destroying this system. Wow, they're completely taking this pocket of space. Ooh, fighting on two fronts here. Is this the feds? This is Archon Delaine. This isn't the feds. Pushing back on Archon Delaine on the opposite side and fortifying. Probably going to turn this into a stronghold. That's a lot of effort. They're also expanding in this way, expanding over here, expanding out here. This is towards the edge of the bubble. Honestly, it looks like they're focused more on their conflict with Archon Delaine than they are with Lee here, because Lee's just taking whatever they want. So let's take a look at Archon. I mean, Archon, they got to be up to some weird stuff over there. Fortifying, Biko here, fortifying, a lot of fortification. Archon is pushing right in, and they are doing a pretty good of undermining here. Mech being undermined. Let me take a look at if Archon is reciprocating anywhere. A little bit here, not much there. A little bit of undermining happening there, but like not much. Some fortification happening back here. They do have a stronghold just sitting right here, and they are concentrated on reinforcing that to some extent right now. Pranav taking this, although it's pretty close. Archon could compete. Same here. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. They are absolutely taking this system. This little pocket of space looks like it's going to be a Pranav W. They could even take BD here. Oh, Marcab, huh? Big movement down here. Completely avoiding that. God, look at that. 380,000 in this way. 500,000 in this direction. There is a big conflict happening here. Honestly, Archon's taking it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is where most of Archon's like players are, is in this system or dealing with this system. You know, they're obviously doing some work up here, but this pocket of space is where Archon is doing, I think, most of their stuff. Let's take a look over here, though. Let's take a look at their other fronts to see if maybe there's like some crazy activity. There is a little bit. That's a lot of effort. They're straight up taking this, no problem. Doing a decent bit of fortification down here. Who are they rubbing up against? Is this Aisling? No, this is Denton. And they're undermining Denton actually reasonably well down here. I'm guessing this is, yeah, they're expanding. So there's a couple fronts Archon's moving on right now. Now they do have a bit of an advantage because this is literally the edge of the bubble. It doesn't go out further than this. Although when colonization happens, it's going to be very interesting. Right now, these two fronts right here and up north. And that's also a lot of Pranav movement up here as well. Just a lot of conflicts with the independents and a little bit of imp activity on this side. So let's go ahead and take a look up north at Yuri, Grom, and the Alliance, and then we can cut this pilot there. So go ahead and switch. Edmund Mahan expanding up here. This looks like a little bit of friction between Antal and Grom, and that is exactly what it is. A little bit of pushback happening from Antal, and they are fortifying up here in Mjolnir. Dead even conflict happening in Felder as well. Also, I just realized that these penalties probably are what applies to my power, and it probably says a very different thing for them. So yeah, that was useless every time I pointed that out. Anyway, dead even conflict happening here, which is kind of interesting. Although I'm not seeing any conflict states floating around, just a lot of like control point conflict, if that makes sense. Not much on a actual conflict state level. There was a couple last cycle, but it looks like mostly we're gearing up for the next one. Jerome straight up pushing up here. Yuri trying to reciprocate down here in Nokori. Reasonable effort from both here. Obviously that 241,000 in Zahi? I don't know. A lot of movement for Jerome. Some respectable movement from Yuri, but they aren't really trying to push that probably. Mostly dealing with Jerome. Jerome is just like kind of chewing away at their territory here. Aisling all the way up here making some movements, although it looks like Jerome's going to be taking that. It's kind of far for them. Yuri looked like they were going to try to compete with Jerome out here. Doesn't look like it's happening. Wonder what's going on. Anything in Seoul? A little bit of fortification happening in Seoul. Yuri circling around Seoul just a little bit. If we look down here, we can see that they're currently fortifying 82 Eridani right underneath Seoul. A little bit of Lee activity here. Barely any undermining, basically accidental, with 39,000 moving to reinforce. Honestly, the fight for Seoul could be interesting. I'm curious to see if Yuri starts making moves down here, because if we go ahead and tick that strategic view, I'd be willing to bet there's a decent little pocket of movement going on down here, because we got a little bit of fortification here, little bit, oh, dead even conflict right here, right outside of that territory. Jerome expanding in. Where's Seoul? Seoul's right up here. Is there any movement happening in Seoul? Yeah, mostly just fortification. Respectable little movement there in Sirius, but not much outside of Jerome. A lot of fortification, actually. Like, every one of these systems nearly has a decent little bit of fortification for Jerome. I'm imagining, though, that most of that is probably just people merit grinding. Let's take a very quick look at the two Imperial powers up here. We've got Edmund Mahan, who's kind of everywhere. Edmund, honestly, is his own entire video because he's literally everywhere. 63,000 movement this way. A little bit of undermining actually happening in this stronghold, which is pretty impressive. I'm imagining that that's Jerome. Successful undermining happening here in BD, probably slowly moving up to take Tau. I'm guessing Jerome's pushing up here. No, Edmund pushing through up here. Mostly just expansion happening here in Edmund space. I imagine there's a bunch of little conflicts going on. I'm kind of curious to see if there's anything going on between the two Imperial or the two Alliance powers, because we've got Nikado Kane here as well now, the newest addition to Powerplay. Edmund doing a little bit of expansion over here, but they might not even take it. Nikado, Felicia, right here. Nikado's ahead, but there's not much really movement going on for either of them. They actually didn't even have any systems on the activity monitor before. Oh my god, there's an Edmund stronghold right here? They're focusing on it. A respectable effort from Nikado, but they're focusing on that. Ooh, very close between here. O'Rear, we're up here in rare goods space. Edmund and Nikado competing pretty heavily for O'Rear. 36,000 movement up here. There's a decent amount of movement actually for Nikado. Wow. Okay, they're focusing a lot on Shamas. Wonder why. There's no actual conflict happening up here. A lot of fortification happening up here as well. I'm imagining because this route, that really popular route, whoa, 645,000 compared to 430,000. Oh my god, who's up here doing this? This is Grom. This is Grom doing this. 430,000 undermining, bro. How? And it's funny because it's all in that system as well. There's like nothing happening around it. There's over 1 million like merits movement between here. That's crazy. Anyway, this is what I love so much about Powerplay. This update is so much better than the old one. Just because of this Galmap alone, it's so cool to be able to actually just like click around and see exactly what people are doing, see where people are. I love this activity filter. You know, it's not necessarily all encompassing. There's a lot more activity, as I think we've proved, than just these systems, because usually surrounding these pockets of activity is activity. I think that it would be wise for Frontier to maybe, oh, we got a contested state right here. We got a little bit of a contested state going on right here between Felicia Winters and Aisling. That's kind of interesting. Successful undermining happening here too. This is what I'm talking about. There's just so many little stories playing out here. Like, it's just really cool. This is why I think Powerplay has so much potential. I just hope they fix how overpowered Corn is, not by nerfing Corn, but by buffing everything else, because merit grinding is no fun. But if you liked this segment, me clicking around the Galmap, taking some time to speculate on the different conflicts and the different things that could be going on between the two powers, let me know. Let me know in the comments if you'd love more of this, and I'd love to make like a weekly version of this where I just look around in the Galmap and go, wow, look at what's happening. And, you know, maybe even watch big conflicts between these powers happen in real time. Thank you guys for watching. Frontier, please fix it. Bye-bye.